Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming and listening to me today. I'd like to talk to you about insurgency threat in the region of Eurasia and country of Afghanistan. My name is Ashton Henderson, and this is for the class for Political Science 408, Week 12. Eurasia and Afghanistan overview. So today I'll be talking about insurgency, Eurasia, the region itself, Afghanistan, the country itself, the environment that causes for insurgency development and creation, the prevention, like what my goals are and my policies are to prevent the growth of insurgencies in these regions or country, and what would happen if we had a failure to actually promote my policy, and then the forecast for the foreseeable future in the region and the country of Eurasia and Afghanistan on the creation of insurgency. Insurgency. Insurgency has been around for thousands of years. Many groups have practiced this. Many groups have actually utilized these tactics, but over time they've developed throughout history. They've emerged from political grievances and ideals to challenge order. So most of these insurgency groups challenge the order that's already present, and they have some type of grievance that fuels their fire and their reason to become an insurgency group. These groups are caused by feelings of exclusion, discrimination, and insecurity of nations' interests for them. So being insecure and being discriminated on, especially you as a person or ethnic group or a specific ideology or religion, that would make me want to turn against the government that is discriminating me against. Most insurgency groups use violent tactics or a style of guerrilla warfare to pursue their political establishments. So these insurgency groups use violent tactics to kind of persuade and to influence people to either join them, or anybody that rebels against them will be in their way. They face enemies with more economic resources, numbers, and support of local and global governments. So these insurgency groups don't play by the rules, and they are a smaller entity compared to big global governments. Best example I can give is ISIS over in the Middle East and the Afghan Taliban. These groups are small, but they are deadly when it comes to their actions that they portray for political movement and political change. Examples, like I said, are ISIS, Afghan Taliban, and other groups in the Middle East. Eurasia. So Eurasia is located over in Eurasia. Most countries in the region rank at the near bottom for political rights and civil freedoms. So Eurasia struggles with political rights and civil freedoms. Some countries in the region struggle to democratize and pursue European integration. They're heavily influenced by Russia and China to avoid Western democracy. Russia is one of the bigger supporters on involving or persuading Eurasia into not accepting Western culture, Western civilization. Human rights are always a struggle for the people that live in the region, and one of the world's most dangerous countries is located in Eurasia, and that country is Afghanistan. We all know Afghanistan in present day because of this culture and because of the events that have happened over in that country and the war that's been current with the United States. In recent history, it was consumed by the Soviet Union. So Eurasia's had some influence by the Soviet Union before the fall. The Soviet Union enforced communist rule throughout the region and depleted many countries of their economic potential. So most of these countries are very strong in their economic growth and their economic production, but after the Soviet Union, they drained them because of their communist rule, and they utilized their valuable resources in Eurasia to benefit themselves as the Soviet Union. And this left a lot of countries in Eurasia to defend for themselves. Currently still struggling to develop countries in Eurasia to be self-dependent on resources within its borders. So they're obviously still struggling today. Insurgencies utilize these unstable countries to grow their ranks and spread their ideology. Unstable governments and poor economics make people turn to insurgencies as a way of life. If you're not getting supported by the government that you're governed by, you'll look for other options or opportunities for people to support you. Afghanistan. Afghanistan is a landlocked country that borders Pakistan to the east/south. Iran to the west, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan to the north, and China to the northeast. Kabul is the largest city in Afghanistan. It is the most dangerous country in the region of Eurasia because of the terrorist attacks, insurgency groups, and rogue groups that are established in that country. Pashtun is the largest ethnic group, and the religion that is practiced highly in Afghanistan is Islam. Afghanistan has been involved in many conflicts throughout history. It fought against the Soviet Union, who tried to invade the country in the 1980s. After the conflict, the Taliban and the Islamic Foundation was spread across the country. The Taliban ruled with a totalitarian foundation for 5 years. Afghanistan and the Taliban that were in control were pushed into the mountains after the United States entered the war on terror. NATO forces helped liberate Afghanistan from the Taliban. Afghanistan signed a strategic partnership agreement in 2012 with the United States, and this helps with terrorist organizations over in Eurasia. Environment. Multiple influences from different nations, including Russia and the United States. So the environment that helps benefit insurgency's growth is kind of like the multi-platform relations. Does a certain country go this way? Does a certain group go this way? Does a certain belief go with the Russians or the United States or the European Union? A lot of the people there are lost, and the governments are lost with who they should choose and whose it will be the best benefit for them. Economics destroyed by previous rule of Soviet Union, like I mentioned before. Infrastructures are still collapsing or have hit rock bottom without upward movement. Governments struggling to earn the support of their people. So a lot of the people over in Eurasia are struggling to actually believe in their government for a progressive progress in their societies. Terrorist operations and insurgencies are current and present day. The Afghan Taliban are an active insurgency in the area with large influence of rogue behavior. Transnational crimes are present, and drug, human, and weapon trafficking are part of current operations in the region. Governments and law enforcement agencies don't prevent production of drugs like opium. They try to stay away from it, they avoid it, and it's a secondary problem to them compared to actually eliminate the insurgencies that are already present. Afghanistan is the world's largest opium producer, and 75% of the product is trafficked through Eurasia and distributed globally. The terrain in Eurasia and Afghanistan is a key to developing insurgencies in vast mountainous ranges that are hard to patrol. So with vast mountainous ranges, it's hard to patrol and to mitigate insurgency groups that are clear up in the mountains that people very rarely visit or hard to establish rule or law. So they kind of make their own government. Prevention. So my goal or my idea or ideology of preventing this insurgency growth in this region. Eliminating insurgencies in the area are complex and will take a long period of time. This will not be a quick fix. It'll take years to do. Implementing aid and relief to people affected in the region when it comes to insurgencies. So we need to give aid to people so they don't fall into the insurgency ways. Provide economic growth organizations and develop trade relations outside Eurasia with Western European Union. So instead of them focusing on Russia or the profit or benefit working with insurgencies for income, we need to develop them to actually provide and distribute with trade relations in the Western European Unions. Provide refugee area development programs to integrate them into other societies, help them get into other countries, other societies, and provide insurgency integration systems that will collect key intelligence on insurgent operations. So those that are refugees, we go talk to them, we see who's got family back at their country, especially in Eurasia or Afghanistan, that are influenced by insurgencies, and influence them to join the insurgency for us to gather information on them, so we can find where key leaders are and key developments and key movements are. Implement sanctions on the country that are involved with insurgency groups. Attack secondary sources like Afghanistan. We put sanctions on Afghanistan, but we need to attack the opium fields that produce opium, which is a secondary financial support to the Afghan Taliban. Develop the hearts and minds of locals to prevent Western culture resentment. So obviously we've got to win the hearts and minds of the people. Failure of the policy. So the failure of my policies, if we do not integrate them or use them, international failure of infrastructure more than it already is, creates an even more dangerous environment for the local communities, and provide people living in the region. Future influence of rogue and insurgency behavior. So obviously will increase the insurgency rogue behavior and help produce the insurgencies of growth. An environment to develop more than just one insurgency group or groups. So normally in one area that's unstable with government or control or rule, more than one insurgency group can actually go in there and infiltrate and grow because there's nobody looking for them and there's nobody limiting them of their growth. More prone to developing transnational crimes that will affect local, regional, and global governments throughout the world. Recruiting and the spread of ideology to other countries to increase its numbers. Death and destruction to anyone that doesn't align with their belief. Terror globally. I mean, if we do not combat it, take care of it, and try to prevent it globally, we'll have a terror issue. The forecast in the future. This region of Eurasia and country of Afghanistan is unstable. Unstable region, and the country of Afghanistan is the most dangerous country in the world because of terrorism and their economic failures. The government of Afghanistan has been bailed out of economic failure 30 times in the last 60 years. That is due to the leadership that they have now. Current insurgencies and groups like the Afghan Taliban are active in present day. Drug trafficking, human trafficking, and money laundering are present in today's society in Eurasia and Afghanistan. Rebellion against Western culture and European Union for a stable democracy. So that's the forecast in the future. We already have insurgency groups and Taliban terrorist groups or rogue groups that are already currently in that region or that country of Afghanistan. Conclusion. Insurgency is a real threat to global security. Unstable regions are perfect environments to develop such groups to create terror. Without stability in ungoverned regions, it can create danger with everyone involved. Those that are in the groups, insurgency groups itself, those that are in the country inside the borders, those that are influenced or affected by them outside the borders, and the governments. Death and terror in the world is a threat to everyone, even if they are divided by borders. Bibliography. Thank you for having me, and hope you have a good day.